Gender, race, or identity should not be an issue when venture capitalists fund a startup. However, the data's out there, folks. About 98% of VC funds go to white male founded companies. So this industry has a lot of work to do to even the playing field, and our guest is doing her part. She's a female funder, and she's passionate about and committed to investing in female founders of early stage B2B SaaS enterprises. Oh, love that. Stay tuned for another delicious conversation on the Startup Life live show. Let's glow and let's dance. Hello and welcome to the Startup Life Live Show. I'm your host, Andy Lyons, 4 times founder and startup champion to founders around the world. And after raising 4 businesses of my own, I have a pretty good idea of what you all are crawling through every single day. You know, this startup journey, it really is hashtag the struggle is real. And it's a roller coaster ride. You could be having a great morning, feeling like a winner, and then all hell can break loose, and then you feel like the worst person on the planet, and then the next minute you have a win and you're back up again. That is part of the journey, which is why it's so important for you to be constantly building your resilience muscles, right? Being able to go with the flow of it all. And that's why I am also so grateful that you carved out time to tune in to the Startup Life live show and up your founder game, because as you do better, that's right, your startup will do better. And there's no class to take, no course, no YouTube channel that's going to tell you how to be a founder until you're actually sitting in the seat, making things happen and seeing how your startup is behaving, right? It's kind of like with kids. Sometimes each kid comes with totally different instructions for how to raise them. So to all my live viewers who are swinging by to say hi, I'm waving madly, I'm blowing you kisses, and replay viewers, you are the best. Thank you for coming by and grabbing the nuggets for your startup. And podcast listeners, big love hugs for you too, for tuning in wherever you are. If you are watching live or via video, please like the video, whether it's on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. And if you are on YouTube, please hop on over and subscribe to the channel. And to receive an alert whenever I post a new show and to do a deep dive on the guests that I'm having on the show, please join the Startup Life Live meetup group. That way you can have a good understanding and set your calendar for the show. We're here most Tuesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. ET. I have a few Andy-licious announcements for everyone today because, you know, we all need to find out what's going on. Where can we get some great advice? And one of them is, of course, and I always lead off with this, Arlen's Academy. Arlen Hamilton always has everything you need. She just uploaded this week some more great information that you need to know about launching a successful business all in one place. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. And then I really want to encourage everybody to hop on over to Scroobius and check out this amazing platform, because they help you with funding, getting prepared for funding. They are very inexpensive, but use my Andy15 to get 15% off. They also help provide peer support. I mean, the best thing you can do as a founder is to hang out with other founders. And they also help you prepare a video pitch deck, because look, you need to be aligned with your investors, right? And the best way to let them know who you be is for you to have a video pitch. And Scroobius is great. So I hope you can hop on over to Scroobius. Links are in the show notes. And hey, Jason Calacanis has a great event coming up on October 25th to the 26th called Meet Our Fund. It's a virtual summit. And I think he's having like 11,000 founders and top VCs. So you can learn all about raising capital and how to grow your startup. So I'm so excited to introduce you to our guest today, because she's a remarkable woman doing remarkable things. It's the also phenomenal Pascale Diaine. And she's a seasoned entrepreneur and a partner at a phenomenal venture firm called Storm Ventures, where her investment thesis and their investment thesis focuses on sales and marketing automation AI and machine learning, Internet of Things, retail tech, AR, computer vision, and robotics applied to the enterprise space. We're going to have a delicious conversation, as we always do when we have a female funder on the show. Let me bring into the room the one and only Pascale Diaine. Yay!
Hi.
So
Thanks for
happy.
having me.
Oh, it's so happy to have you here, Pascale. Tell everybody where you are sitting right now. What part of the world are you hanging around in?
I am actually in Las Vegas.
Yay!
After 20 years in the Bay Area, I'm part of the people who left during COVID.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh my gosh, you must have so much cash flow left over, right? At the end of the day, moving from the Bay Area, just saying, yeah,
And
here in Boston.
I can all gamble it. So that's great.
Oh my gosh. So someone is saying that while I love listening to Andy, her intro keeps playing 4 times so far. When will the noon show start? Oh my gosh. So Ruth, is everything working okay out there, or is my opening show still playing? So Ruth, everybody, is my wonderful community manager. And so I know, Ruth, you'll let me know if everything's working okay. Technology can happen. You know that, Pascale, even under the best of circumstances. And thank you, LinkedIn user, for letting me know. Oh, well, we're going to keep on moving because replays matter as well. And so, Pascale, I'm curious because you have a great background. And one of the things that you did in your career before you started your career was to get educated in the computer science area, engineering. So, we know here in the U.S. That there are women in computer science, women in computer engineering. We still need to see those numbers up there. What was it that led you 20 plus years ago to dive into this area for your education?
Yeah, that's a great question. And like you, I would love to see more of these talented women join these fields. So I grew up in France and I studied in France. And I'm going to have a bit of a contrarian opinion here. I never really had computer science as a passion. I had no idea what I was going to do. All I knew is that I was really good in math and physics, and any hard science was just coming easier to me than other fields. And whoever I would ask, what should I do? Because I was big in sports, and I was a gymnast, and then I played volleyball, and I was so passionate about it, but I was not good enough. And I knew that I didn't really have a future there, really. And because I was so ambitious and driven, and I really wanted to change the world, but I had no role model. I really had no idea like what it meant. And so everybody around me just told me repetitively, just keep going in math and physics and science as far as you can, and then doors will open. And
I love that advice. Come on, women don't get that advice enough, right, Pascale?
Yeah, I think it's just because it's so blurry. It's like, what does it mean? I wanted to be a businesswoman, but I didn't even know what it meant. I would see this woman in this movie with a suit and a briefcase ordering people around, and I like that. But what do you do to get there? Like engineering sounds like you have like a white coat in the lab. Like it's just there's no role model for women today, and it's such a bummer, right?
And so true.
Yeah. So I just kept going in math and physics, like everybody told me,
And you got your degree, and then
So actually, what happened is like in France, you do this like preparatory classes when you're really good, and it could be in math or in business. And I was told like if you're not sure, do math because then you can go back to business. But when you're in business, you can't really go back to engineering. So I kept going and going. So, and I ended up having to pick between mechanical, system mechanics, biology, chemical, or computer science. And I had heard of that thing happening in Silicon Valley, like this crazy thing happening and people raising money and all that. So I said, it looks like computer science would be closer to get me there. Yeah. So it's not my passion of I love coding or I love developing stuff. It's just I was like, I need the credibility to get there and see what's out there.
See,
and
I love
honestly, that's what got me there. So no passion for developing and coding, but passion to do something bigger and knowing where to go to have as many doors to open as possible.
That is such excellent advice to anybody who's listening, that, we need to be thinking about the bigger picture. What can you be planting today that's going to get you to be able to do more in life? And, that's what you did. You increased your options. And I really love that you had that understanding that engineering, you could, you got your degree in engineering, you can always brush up on your business, but you can't brush up on engineering.
It's just really hard.
It's really hard.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, this is so great. So your goal was to get to this valley called Silicon Valley, which I love. So how did you end up going there? And you had this wonderful stint with this sort of like an education platform called Orange Fab. I'm so curious about this when I was reading about your bio. Can you talk a little bit about that and tell us how you got to California from France?
Yes. So I got the opportunity to join with an internship to go for an internship in Silicon Valley, working for the innovation center of a large French telco called Orange. So if you go to Europe and you use a cell phone, you're probably going to use Orange. It's kind of the AT&T of Europe. And they have an innovation center in Silicon Valley. It was an R&D center, research and development. And they were looking for analyst interns to join the community. It was a group of like 50, 60 people. And I joined as an analyst. And I was there for a 9 months internship, and I loved it. I was not the best at it. I was not like the most.
I love that honesty. I was not the best, but I loved it. Come on, that is so great.
That's why I just want so many women to know it's okay if you're not the best. Just work at it. Patience, resilience, you will get there. Because trust me, when I was that little intern popping up in an R&D center, surrounded by PhD guys who knew everything about coding, Wi-Fi, telco, networks, and it was like, like I was a generalist in, I had a specialty in computer science, but I was not very sharp at it.
Yeah.
But I was just like, all right, I'll just work my way up. I'll just,
See, this is what you're saying, Pascale, is so important. I earned my MBA at the only all women's MBA program at Simmons College here in Boston. And that was one of the things they said to us as a class, right? Every class, they would talk about how women would want to be an expert at everything, the best at everything, or they would just be quietly over to the side, whereas men would look and say, well, who is the worst at this? I just need to be better than they are.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah, so it's great that you bring that up and talk about that, because women can self-sabotage this way, right?
100%. I mean, yeah, I'm surprised I stick around and, kept my head up when I felt such an imposter and so overwhelmed by the level of knowledge everybody had around me.
Right.
And so a couple of things that really changed my trajectory is I decided, I thought to myself, like, what am I good at? And how can I thrive? How can I differentiate, right? And I heard a couple of things that my mentors at the time, like the head of my internship and my first boss, told me. And that made a profound impact on me. And I want all the women to really hear that. They said, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And more importantly, your network is your net worth. And I took that at heart.
Yes.
Because it's okay to know a bunch of stuff, but what's even more important is to know who to ask, right? To get an answer to what you need, right? So it's really like your network, your circle of influence. And what I was good at was building rapport with people. What could have been felt as a weakness, woman in tech, I have an accent, I don't look like an engineer, made me memorable. So any networking event I would go to and start talking to people, they may not remember what I said, but they remembered me and remembered that I worked for this French company. And then they would just want to help me or invite me or connect with me. And that made all the difference. Like,
excellent.
A massive network. And I really took that network is your net worth at heart.
Well,
and that's where I am today.
Excellent. We've got to stitch that on a pillow moment, right, folks? Your network is your net worth. And, how you networked was so important. And again, my darling, wonderful women, we tend to network with a lot of constraints, right? Instead of, just saying, I need to just talk. I need to just be out, instead of like, well, would I be able to help this person? Don't look at it through that lens. Just look at it as your network is your net worth, and you're building up your network to reach more people and to create more of a difference and get your work out there. I want to just take a quick moment and say hello to some folks who are in the comment section, especially. And LinkedIn is having a little challenge today, folks. So LinkedIn user, I don't know what your first name is, but she says, or he says, hello, excited for this conversation. I was raised to go into math, science, and research, and lucky to have a non-male role models. I'm co-founder and CEO of Modality. That's MODALITY, folks who are listening. My technical co-founder is a woman, and the URL is Find Modality. And may I just say, this is what we're talking about. Startup Life Live Show. Share your business name, one-liner. I'd like to know a little bit more about what Modality does and your URL, because folks, thousands of people watch the replay and listen to the podcast. So this is a great way to amplify your startup. We're all going to go check that out now. And whoever that is, if you could just share your name so we can then connect with you on LinkedIn. Sometimes LinkedIn doesn't provide that. So this is wonderful. You came to this new territory. You did what everybody has to do when they're creating, building their MVP, right? Minimum viable product, is they have to figure out what's the differentiator. How am I going to be unique? How am I going to stand out among all the other folks here? You did a great job at that, Pascale. And then what happened with Orange Fab? Yeah. I mean, I'm just so fascinated about this organization.
Absolutely. So Orange, so I was working for the Innovation Center of Orange in Silicon Valley. So I was still connected to a very large corporation in the US, right? And I was just basically developing that network of influence. And at some point, somebody paid attention and noticed. And they said, look, I went to an event and somebody asked me if I knew you. And that was my big boss. And I said, yeah, I've been networking a lot, talking about Orange, And then they said, well, maybe we should find a better, instead of you being an analyst, why don't you become kind of the liaison between Silicon Valley and Orange? And I just started kind of climbing that ladder of being like the evangelist for Orange, right? The technical evangelist for Orange. And then I started developing that network of influence within executive of Orange in France and entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley, and kind of connecting people and making sure that when an exec would come to Silicon Valley, I would introduce him or her to the right people within Silicon Valley, influential people, executive VCs, entrepreneurs. So I had all these layers of a network that led me to, in 2013. So I had, again, when I talk about resilience and patience, I mean it. Right. It took me almost 10 years working for the Innovation Center of a corporation to get my break, to get my moment of fame, is to create an entity within a large corporation, like make a difference for a large corporation. Yeah. So I was like an internal entrepreneur within a large corporation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, here's what's exciting about this, because this is where the engineering and math pays off. Some of the best biz dev folks out there are ones with that ability to have the vision, and see what's on the horizon, but also be able to talk about the engineering component, right? That ability to understand and speak the language of the tech industry, and which is all engineering and math. So you had that all wrapped up in a beautiful bow. This is so great. I just want to say thank you, Laura Vitale, for letting us know who you are. For Modality. Good to see you. Yay. And we're excited about that. And then we have another person here, Pascale Diaine. My family is from Latvia. My grandfather was an entrepreneur there, and he passed that spirit to me. Our femtech startup has a female co-founder. And, I don't know if this is a B2B SaaS company, folks, but this person is doing a pitch, which we love. Would you invest in a startup medical device company that is developing a cure for 1 billion incontinent women? So, this is, if so, it's Shapiro at Flowell.com. There you go. Good to know, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I would have to know more, but yeah. We just invested in a company in Lithuania. So we're like agnostic in terms of geography. So
There we go.
Yeah.
And then we have Angela Sanchez. You are always working it with Merge Tech. And what's great, about Merge Tech, Pascale, is Angela is a Latina, and she is in the construction industry. And she realized that they were always looking to diversify by hiring folks. And I know she'll give me a little quick update on that, but it's, the ability to make it easy for the big construction, the folks who are building the skyscrapers and the bridges and the super malls, to find the diverse subcontractors. And it's a wonderful, wonderful tech company. I know Angela put some goodies in there. And then one of my favorites, you and I were talking about Hopin. Well, this is Mixtros. And what Mixtros does is that they create an opportunity, if you have an event, for people to connect, to have true engagement, and do it under the umbrella of what you want the experience to be for them. And so it's kind of like Hopin in the sense that they create a room for everybody to get into and have a great conversation, but it's also providing the data that you need, the event holder, to make it all happen. And so wonderful company, Mixtros, putting it all out there. And then Angela, thank you, everybody. You know how much I love this mobile application SaaS platform connecting prime contractors with minority-owned businesses in the construction industry. So that's Merge Tech, everybody. And this is us. We love you, startups, and we love you, female femtech startups as well. It's so important, everything that you're doing and everything you're taking, and to make it happen. And Pascale, you and I were talking, it's not always as easy to find the B2B SaaS founders that are female-led. So I love that you've come on the show and given us an opportunity to increase and open doors and have conversations with some of these B2B SaaS female-led companies. But let's talk about this wonderful transition that you had when you were able to build your entrepreneur experience within the assets and resources of a company. So you were getting paid, but you were being, as we say here in Boston, wicked smart to get out there and create all these relationships. You were being recognized by senior management. You had this internal innovation center. What was the next step for you that you said it was like your big break that, everybody, it's the 10-year overnight success, right? For the break.
Exactly. Yeah. So basically we were innovation center means we had to create things that would benefit the membership, right? Back in Europe. And we were seeing like the explosion of Y Combinator and 500 startups, 2013, right? So it's kind of the beginning. But we see like, we kept thinking, what can a corporation do about that? What could we have our own accelerator? And that's how we started thinking of what could be appealing for a corporate accelerator for entrepreneurs. So we completely mapped what was happening with 500 and Y Combinator. So the 3 months of, a program, a bunch of mentors that can help startups, understand better what to do next in their product. We have a demo day. So at the end of the program, getting access to an audience of people that could really make a difference for the startup. As well as what we added was a trip to France to meet with this key executive within Orange to see if there's a potential of partnership between that startup from Silicon Valley and that large company in Europe. And
that's huge, Pascale. So often, a startup can't even begin to be breaking down any of those doors. There's no bridge to some large corporation like that. What a gift.
Yeah.
How did that go? Tell us more about how that worked for some of the startups.
So what went very well is that we got a lot of amazing startup supply. And in our first couple batches, we had like some companies that are still around doing extremely well. One of them is a company called Talkdesk. It's a call center in the cloud. Instead of your agent in the same place, they can work from home and take calls for your business completely remotely with access to a bunch of tools. And Talkdesk was in our first batch, and Talkdesk went on to raise money with Storm Ventures, and today is a $10 billion company. And so, it's amazing. And so, and other of my companies raised with Storm Ventures, which kind of led us to have discussions and that I can talk about that later, like how I joined Storm Ventures. But to go back to Orange Fab, which was the accelerator, we found out that it was so hard for a startup to engage with a corporation.
Right.
So challenging, and it could also be toxic,
Yeah.
And it's nobody's fault. Nobody's wants that, but it's hard for a corporation that used to get free stuff, not asking for free stuff from a startup. But when you ask for free stuff from a startup, you can potentially, be lethal for that startup.
And not only that, a lot of these startups are founded by people who may not have worked in that level of corporate culture, so they don't understand the language.
Yes.
It's you have to understand the landscape you're walking into. And so you're helping them understand the culture of the large corporation, the language, and you're helping the large corporation understand what we would call supplier diversity mentality, which is that when you are talking to folks who are just starting out, you're going to have expectations that are completely different than if Microsoft showed up and said, let's, or Dell Computer showed up and said, let's outfit all your laptops.
Absolutely. Translating and helping startup to say no to the wrong project that I knew had no future, and saying yes to project that really had a line of sight to something real. And that was hard for startup to say no, but I would tell them, just trust me. This is not going anywhere, but this, you should go. You should do it, right?
Oh my God, what a gift, Pascale.
Yeah, it was non-trivial.
No, but seriously, but then again, it was 10 years of experience of understanding, not only just as being internal in a large corporate environment, but also really understanding and having watched things fail, that people were just barking up the wrong tree, so to speak, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The other great thing was that the CEO of Orange, like the CEO of the full corporation, came to the first demo day and loved it. Loved this young, entrepreneur from Stanford and changing the world and wanting to change the world with Orange. So he decided to launch Orange Fab as the corporate innovation face, and he deployed this program everywhere in the world where Orange had a footprint, which was an amazing recognition, and I think a great opportunity for startups to engage in a healthy way with Orange.
Oh, and I just want to give kudos to the CEO and to you for making sure the CEO showed up for demo day, because this is what happens, folks. When you are really into that big enterprise stage, you have so many systems and procedures in place that innovation gets lost. It's just a side effect of when you have to have a smooth running machine. And so by having an internal innovation center, an incubator, it keeps them enlivened, right? It keeps folks within the large corporation enlivened, right?
Absolutely.
And gives them good ideas, and they go, oh, I never thought of that. So I just love that, something fierce. And so when did the transition come for you to say, okay, this has been wonderful, but now I'm ready to, I've helped companies partner with Fortune 500 companies, and I've helped startups, and you love to mentor, Pascale. I can see that your eyes light up, and trust me, I know it's what what you said. Oh, I love that. How did you end up joining Storm Ventures? How did you meet everybody there? Why did you feel that was the VC firm? Because let's face it, VCs are littered everywhere in Silicon Valley.
Absolutely. So what happened is the key partners, two key partners at Storm were mentors. Like I met them at events, again, networking. I like them, and I like their energy. When I met a lot of VC and I knew a lot of VC, but these specific partners, I thought that's something different. They were humble. They were very attentive to the startup pitching them at happy hours. They didn't brush it off. They were listening, engaged, and I really liked that. Yeah. And then I asked these individuals, so one of them to speak at some of my events, because I had corporation come over and learn about Silicon Valley and look at the startup. So I was organizing a lot of events, and I loved their energy and presentation, and I was a big fan. And so when they approached me in 2017, so again, 3 or 4 years after I started the accelerator, again, talking about resilience and patience, right?
Right.
I was kind of on my way out. I was I had done it. I felt like I had made a difference in a corporation, which is so rare. And I was so grateful for that, but I was ready for something else. And at the same time, 3 VCs approached me, which is insane, planet alignment, or I don't know how you call it. But yeah,
you were just also in a neon light. Come talk to me. I'm ready to move on.
I don't know how they felt it, I guess. But I think also the success of the startup that went through the accelerator was also a way to put me on the map. But yeah, so I got approached by 3 VCs, but Storm came to me and said, "Look, we want you to write checks," which to me was like not in my skill set. Like I knew the corporate world. Yeah, I had a computer science degree. Yes, I knew startups, but I didn't know the world of VC, like
Sure.
due diligence, financial aspects, cap table, all that was very opaque to me. So I wasn't quite sure. And it's so funny. The first time Ryan at Storm Mentor approached me and he asked me if I wanted to work for them, I was so surprised. And I was like, why me? Like, I don't understand. Like, you sure I can do it? And something he told me, I will always remember. He said, Pascale, if I had asked a man, he would have never said that. Why do you disqualify yourself? Like, I think you can do it. Just say yes.
Tina Fey say yes and you'll figure it out later quote, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, but that's so good to remember, everyone. And what I love too is that, of course, already you have a head for numbers. So learning valuation, cap tables, all of those things, you were going to pick up very quickly. And because you had been exposed to so much in the accelerator and with the cohorts, you had a good understanding of founder market fit, product market fit, those kind of conversations. What I love is that because of those years of networking and getting to know the area, you also got to know VCs and you got to know like, you're going to stay over there in my life, which ones you wanted to create boundaries with, or you knew you would never work for. But because of your networking and all, you were able to discern which company was going to be a good fit for you, because you're right. You didn't know anything about investing.
Yeah, I didn't. And then actually the other offers I got or discussion I had was about me joining as an operating partner, which is very different.
A what partner?
Operating, like sorry.
Operator VCs. We love operator VCs. They're our favorite. Versus the someone who gets the fancy degree at the fancy college and has never run a business or has never talked to a startup founder. I'm biased, just saying.
So yeah, what they call operating partner is basically somebody who's going to help the portfolio do better without really investing. And because I had that relationship with a lot of corporations, they were thinking of me just helping the portfolio, which usually means you're not really going to cross over to the investment team writing checks.
Yeah,
that's also why I was very flattered that Storm would think of me for writing checks. And what they told me is like, we know you don't know the ropes of VCs, but you have deal flow, you have access to great startups, and you have the culture fit, because we check with the startups you work with. We like the culture you have. We will teach you everything else because it's teachable. You cannot teach deal flow. You cannot teach personality or culture. No. You can teach somebody about financials and diligence and customer calls and so on.
Oh my gosh, I love this venture firm already for seeing that. And I really love them for saying, you can come in and write checks. And Angela, I agree. It's amazing how us women have the imposter syndrome so high. It's so true. We're like, really? You think I can? Yeah, I think I can. Okay, great. Said no man ever.
And again, it was a man saying that to me, not a woman.